Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening to you, depending upon where you are, of course, listening to this broadcast from. I am Francois T, and welcome to Comment Below and Let Me Know. Got questions? Bring 'em live chat. Today, I thought I would do something different. Today, I thought I would give you all the opportunity to put any question out there that you would like to. Bring on the hairiest of questions. Got an issue that you're facing? Ask that question and I will do my best to answer them for you. Or just got a simple question. How's your day going? That'll be fine too. But any sort of question is allowed today, so feel free to bring them on as we play Got Questions, Bring 'em live chat. So today in Australia is Sunday, and I can't believe that the weekend has flown by rather quickly. Indeed, I've been rather busy this weekend, so I think that might have had something to do with the fact that the weekend has flown by rather quickly. But, well, it's still sad. And, the working week will be beginning rather shortly. So that was also a big part of my topic of today. Are there any questions that have been raised in your place of work that you want an answer to? Any sort of advice that you would like? Certainly feel free to let me know. Well, we have Alofa and Sarah joining us this morning. Hello, Alofa, and hello, Sarah. Okay, Alofa has a question. Oh, a nice question to start with. Excellent. And he said, did you watch the new RuPaul's All-Stars Season 3 newest episode? Yes, Alofa, I did, and I was not happy at all. I put a status up on Facebook saying Ben de la Creme, WTF, with the meme underneath of Tyra Banks saying, how dare you, we were all rooting for you. I was very, very, very upset with what happened in the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race because I love Ben de la Creme. And now I honestly don't know if I'm going to be motivated to watch the rest of it. I mean, I guess I will because I've gotten this far in, but I was very, very disappointed and very let down. Chase is joining us. Hi, Chase. Thank you very much for joining me. So I've had some questions already that have come along, and if you have others, feel free to contribute them. And yeah, let's go through this. So the first question that I have is brought to me by a friend, and that question is, how does one deal with energy vampires at work? Now, in this case, the person is referring to someone who sucks the energy out of people at work. Well, dear friend, this is a tough one to answer because I'm actually dealing with that myself at work at the moment. So I'll answer it as best I can, but I'm also going to put the question out to you guys. How do you guys deal with energy-sucking vampires at work? People who just talk, and you get to the point where you're going into the supply cupboard, you're seeing a roll of gaffer tape and thinking, this is a bit too perfect for me. How do you deal with these people? For me, I just try and find somewhere to hide, to be completely honest. So we definitely have someone at my place of work who doesn't stop talking. And honestly, I try and find a way to just get up and leave, especially if we get to a break. I'll try and find somewhere where that person won't find me. But what do you guys do? How do you guys deal with that? Certainly let me know. And another question that I'd like to put out to you guys is, how do you guys deal with problems that arise at work with people who are ranked higher than you? I was having this discussion a couple of days ago with Sarah on FNS Live, and I just thought I would put it out to everyone. It's tough dealing with workmates anyway, sometimes, but dealing with people who are ranked higher than you is very, very hard to deal with. What if it is the boss of the company? How do you deal with that? Do you just suck it up? Do you quit? Is there a way around it? Comment below and let me know. Sarah says regarding the question prior to that, oh, good question. If you're spiritual, you can ask your angels or guides to surround you with white light and go home and sage. There you go. If not, just remember it's temporary and try and take small breaks whenever you can. Yeah, so I think that is great advice, Sarah. There's nothing worse than trying to do your job, no matter what industry you are in, and having someone go blah 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 blah. It's really, really, really annoying. Chase says, if they keep talking my head off, I'll end up screaming, shut the F up. Well, yeah, I mean, Chase, completely understandable. It's not necessarily something you can do in the workplace, though, unfortunately. You might be able to scream it in your head, but you can't really say it out loud in the workplace, can you? And Sarah says, yes, she really appreciates those small breaks. Yes, I do too, for sure. Look, we are kind of lucky and kind of not that sometimes we'll get sporadic small breaks at my place of work. So that can help sometimes. But the problem is sometimes the energy sucking vampire will follow you on your breaks. And it's like, oh my gosh, just go away. Alofa says, I'm very confrontational. I just speak my mind in the most respectful way, though. Look, sometimes I think that's a good idea, Alofa. Like, you know, sometimes it is a good idea to be able to, like, stand up to the person and say, look, I have a problem here and we need to deal with it. So I am currently dealing with someone at work. As I said, I mentioned this in a chat 2 days ago when I was doing FNS Live. I have an issue with someone who's ranked above me, and this person is the boss of the business. And I can assure you, will never listen to my chats. So we are completely safe here. I just feel like I can't approach her because she did say to me I can come and ask her anything. And when I did try to talk to her about one small tiny thing that I had an issue with, she told me that I had the issue and it was all on me and something that I had to learn to deal with. So, I mean, it just felt like a waste of time, really. Chase says, I get headaches easily. Yeah, I do too, Chase. It's something that is starting to really bother me. It's something that I'm starting to really think about if I should like go and talk to a doctor about it. I'm finding that I'm getting headaches at least once a week and I don't know why. So yeah, totally understand where you're coming from with that. And of course, it doesn't help when you have people at work that won't stop talking. Sarah says, I'm really sensitive to energy vampires. And usually I'd have to nicely ask people to just give me a few minutes alone. Yeah, and I think, you know, if they are willing to respect that, that is fantastic. And also the fact that you can do that is fantastic because I don't know if I can, to be honest. But yeah, the problem that I foresee in my particular situation with an energy vampire, if I were going through it, is that they would then ask me like 7 whys. I'm like, why? Oh, but why? But why? But why? But why? And that would just really annoy me even more. But hey, if it works for you, I think that's fantastic, honestly. So Chase says, if I'm in the workplace, I'll walk outside, go behind a dumpster and scream. Oh, Chase, I've done that quite a few times. That's for sure. Sarah says, otherwise, I really probably wouldn't handle it, especially if I had no choice but to take it and can't say anything. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the toughest thing is sometimes, like, when we're dealing with life outside of work, it's a different situation. You feel like there's a whole new set of rules, a whole different handbook to when you're actually in the workplace and having to be professional. And sometimes, yeah, you just have to take it and can't say anything or do anything about it. But does it help the situation? No. But you got to find that line of what you can do and what you can't do. It's just really tough. Sarah also says, stress headaches maybe, but definitely go get it checked out. Yeah, look, I definitely will. I don't know what the deal is. Generally, I find that when I'm having a headache, it's when I wake up in the morning. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I would certainly go and get that checked out for sure. So do you guys experience any issues in the workplace or even outside of the workplace? Anything that you guys want to discuss? Certainly feel free to ask me any questions that are on your mind and I will answer them as soon as I can. Chase says, or I'll go show, must not be named on them. I put my finger, oh, shush them. Yeah, shushing them, you know, if it works, I think that's great. But I think sometimes people who are energy vampires, it's really tough to shush them. And if you directly approach that, it might make a situation worse. Maybe it's just some anxiety that I have about it, but I just fear that if I were to say, look, can you stop talking, or can you shut up, or any variant of that, that they will turn around and annoyingly say, but why, but why, but why? And it would just really, yeah, like, it would be worse than it was prior to that. So there we go. Sorry guys, Sarah says, going by my dream this morning. That's right, Sarah had a dream, and interesting that we're going to discuss it. She says, what would you do in the case of people being nasty to you or trying to make you an outcast? Look, Sarah, that's a really good question. To be honest, prior to going to this place of business, and indeed prior to comment below and let me know, honest truth here, as I said, no holding back, bring on all the questions that you can. I would have seen that as the norm, honestly, prior to comment below and let me know, and I would have just dealt with being alone. These days, I would probably confront those people, like, especially if I knew them quite well, if we were friends or something like that, I would confront them and say, look, am I missing something? Has something happened that I'm not aware of? Have I done something wrong? And just try and see what the heck is going on there, really. But what do you guys think? If you guys have an answer, certainly let Sarah know. That's a very good question. All right, I think I'm just going to take a very quick drink here, you guys. A big shout out to MC. Haven't spoken to MC for a while, but she always says to hydrate, and I think now is the right time to hydrate. So keep those questions coming, everyone, and I will be answering them as soon as I've had a sip of my coffee. Gosh, here's a question to put out there. Who would still be able to get through their workday without coffee? Because I tell you, I would not be able to. All right. So yeah, so Sarah, I'm not trying to gloss over your question, but I think it really comes down to the situation. Like, do you know these people? Do you not know these people? And if you do not know these people, to me, it would be more of a, hey, these guys don't know me. Who are they to judge me? And why should I care? Because I don't know them. But if I do, these days, not prior to comment below and let me know, but these days, I would sit down with them and say, look, have I done something? What's going on here? Have I done something to hurt you? Because I approach a situation like that is to make out that you've done something wrong, even if you don't think you have, to go, wait, so have I done something to you? Have I hurt you? And then see what they say and take it from there. Anyway, Chase says, do you get what I mean by show that must not be named? No, I don't actually, Chase. I'm sorry about that. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? Sarah says, we get what you mean, Chase. Oh, well, Sarah does. Yay. Alofa says, communication is one of the main keys to a happier life. Yes, completely agree. And this is something I've learned in the past 12 months, honestly. So I've known about it, but I've realized how true it is in the past 12 months. What I've noticed with me, I used to let it all boil up to the point where I just start flipping tables. But as a boss, they're getting paid. Very good point. Yeah. The big bucks to deal with these, they've been paid the big bucks to deal with these situations. Sometimes it's just them and not you. You know they're probably going through shit in their personal life. Yeah, look, definitely. Sometimes it is a case of something that's happening with them. And that's something that people have been trying to teach me for a long time that I finally understood is, don't always take things personally, because at the end of the day, it's most likely not about you at all. It's about what they're going through at the moment. My comeback to that used to be, well, don't take your shit out on me. But at the same time, I now understand that and go, okay, look, they're just upset, just let them sort of do their own thing. But no, that's a very good point. Yeah, and you got to thank, what's her name? Teresa from The Real Housewives of New Jersey for that saying about flipping tables. I hear a lot of people talking about it these days. Like, oh, I could just flip a table. Like, well done, Teresa Giudice. Well done. Thank you, Alofa, though. I really appreciate it. Okay. Chase says, my dream last night was weird as hell. I was at the store and someone was a walking, talking chicken. Oh, a human walking, talking chicken. Oh, really weird. Oh, I don't know how I would deal with that, Chase. Oh gosh. So guys, I'm going to keep reading through your comments, but again, if you have got questions about the workplace, questions about anything at all, honestly, you guys, the hairier, the better. Throw them at me, anything you can think of, and we will try and get them answered in our chat. Alofa says, if I'm not happy at work after talking to my superiors and there's no progress, I would just leave. Yeah, so I agree with that, Alofa. I do. But let me throw a spanner in the works. What if, Alofa, aside from this issue that you're dealing with, you actually are happy at work? Then how would you deal with it? Because I think that is the easiest route to take. Once you've done everything, you sort of go, okay, this is not changing, I'm going to go. But what if you have a problem with a few people, but you love your actual job? Then how do you deal with it? Chase says, PLL. Yes, yes. Now I get what you're saying. PLL. Very good, Chase. Sarah says, how could you possibly lead by example in a situation where you want someone to be positive towards you? Ooh. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I think you just have to be positive towards them. I think that's one of the greatest things about what I'm experiencing at the moment is that I'm around a lot of positive people, whether it be at work, at home, comment below and let me know. Generally, I'm surrounding myself with positive people, so it's hard not to feel positive. But yeah, I would definitely say in that case to just be yourself. But it's a tough one to deal with, especially when people are being negative towards you. That's for sure. Chase says, I meant I saw my keyboard left out the space. Oh, I mean, I saw A. Yeah, no problems at all, Chase. That's fine. Show them you're the bigger person. Yeah, good one. Exactly right. But I mean, it's not always easy to do that, especially if you're going through a lot of stuff and especially in the workplace. As I was saying earlier on in this chat, I do feel like there are two separate, if you will, guidebooks. There's one, the guide to how you should be at work. And then there's one that's more the guide to how you can be outside of work, where there's not all these rules that you have to deal with, rules and regulations and whatever. And if you're under the age of working, then I'm sure you can relate to when it comes to going to school. There are rules of how you should be when you're at school, and there are rules how you should be when you're outside of school, or when you're with your friends as opposed to being at home with your parents if you're younger. I grew up with strict parents myself personally, so for me, I think I probably had about 5 or 6 different handbooks growing up. But anyway, Jay said it's not easy, but in the long run, it helps. No, that's definitely true. I completely agree. Sarah says, exactly. So in a bad work situation, be your usual positive self. Show them you're the bigger person, as hard as it may be. Work through it. Hold your head up high and focus on the job and not the negative influence. You know what, Sarah? That is really good advice. And it's advice that I will definitely take on as well with things that I'm dealing with. Just hold your head up high and focus on the job. You're absolutely right on that one. Thank you. That's good advice for everyone out there. Guys, so just again, I'm going to say if anyone's got any questions, everyone's probably having a fantastic week right now and doesn't have any problems at all. But if you do and you're comfortable enough sharing them or even just putting it out there in a sort of anonymous, non-confrontational way, feel free to ask them. Today is the day we're answering all the questions so that we can start this week off right. And for those of you around the world that are listening to this, when I say start this week off, in Australia, it is Sunday. So it is either the start of the week if you think Sunday is the start of the week, or it's the day before the start of the week if you think the week starts on Monday. Everyone has their own opinion on that. Sarah says, and eventually the negative influence will get bored and move on. Yeah, I think that's really good advice again, Sarah. So I'll have to see how that goes, but I'll definitely test that one out. What about you guys? Think you'll test that out? I think it's a pretty good idea. So let's see what else I can ask. How do we deal with people who say any sort of a variant to, feel free to ask me anything, there are no silly questions, and then you ask them a question and then they act like it is a silly question to ask? How do we deal with those people? I don't know how you would categorize that, but I've had that quite a few times in my life. That you have people that will say that or a variant, like, come and talk to me about something if there's an issue, and you do, and then they're like, well, I just think this is your problem, or, there are no silly questions. That's a silly question to ask. I kid you not, when I was studying counseling, you guys, and this is a true story. My friend and I were studying counseling together at college, and the professor said on day one, if anyone has a question, feel free to ask me. There are no silly questions, so ask anything. My friend put her hand up and asked a question, and I kid you not, her response was, well, that's a silly question, isn't it? I mean, come on. How do we deal with people like that? Chase says, I got one that happened to me when I was in 12th grade. Oh, if you want to tell us about it, Chase, you can. If you've got any questions about it, feel free to ask. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. So, I'm just thinking about what else there is to think about and to discuss. But before I do, Chase says, I got blamed for sending a teacher a love text, and the other two teachers kept saying I sent it and making me feel like I'm stupid and no one can hear me. I told them they could call the number. Oh. They said no. And then the principal does, and it's not my number. They could have done that first and stopped all the drama they caused. Oh my God, Chase. That's terrible. So they just out and out accused you. Yeah, I heard a similar story, not like that, but a story about someone being accused when it wasn't them, and especially at schools. And Chase, I want to talk to you about that in a moment, but for everyone else listening out there, I want to put this topic up for discussion. Schools and their integrity. There's been a lot of issues that I've been hearing these days that are happening at schools that didn't happen, not to make myself sound old, but back in my day. And I'm starting to get rather worried. I mean, the least of my concerns is that blackboards and whiteboards are no longer used. They are now using iPads, which to me is just completely beyond me. Look, the cheese stands alone, but I just don't agree with this whole iPad thing. I think it's ridiculous. Utterly, utterly ridiculous. But also there have been quite a few issues. We're hearing Chase's issue that he had. I've also heard an issue about a victim that was being blamed for an incident despite the fact that the incident happened to them. That really upset me. Someone else was telling me that an incident happened at school with their child and they weren't even phoned. No, the school didn't call them at all. And it really surprised me. So if anyone's got any stories that they want to share or any questions they want to ask about schools these days, I would love to hear them because it seems like they're just getting worse and worse. Okay. Where are we? Sorry, guys, I'm just catching up. Yeah, so Chase, before I do go on, just to go back to what you were saying, yeah, like I'm so sorry that happened to you. You gave them a clear way to deal with it, a clear way out. Ring the number, find out who it is. And they're like, no, it's you, and then finally they rung the number to find out it's not you. It's just ridiculous. I don't know if educators just want to, like, I don't know, deal with the situation quickly, so just, jump to accusing someone. But, someone who's an avid lover of the law, I mean, guys, innocent until proven guilty. Like, what's going on here? Why are we so quick to jump to the blame in schools? I really don't understand that. But I'm so sorry that happened to you, Chase, and I'm glad that they worked out in the end that it was not you. I will say that I once got one of my teacher's numbers quite shiftily because I liked my teacher, but this time ago, you guys, and I don't have their number anymore. But yeah, I'm so sorry you were wrongly accused. That's terrible. Sarah says, how would you suggest someone deals with feeling like they aren't contributing enough in the world to make it a better place? Sarah, I think that's a really good question. First of all, I hate answering a question with a question, but I would come back to that person and say, what makes you feel like you aren't contributing enough in the world to make it a better place? And 9 times out of 10, people who say that, and I've said it myself, but people who say it because outside influences are convincing them that it's the case when it may certainly not be the case at all. So, especially people who are in Australia, Centrelink, around the world, welfare, unemployment, call it what you will, there are a lot of naive people out there who do work, who look down on those who receive welfare, saying, what are you doing? You're not contributing anything to society, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly, you start believing that that's the case. So I would turn around and certainly say to them, why do you think this is the case? Find out what their answer is. Then I would say to them, so what do you do? How do you spend your day? We are so caught up with work and evaluating people for what they do as a career, as a job, that when we first meet people, a lot of the time people will say, hi, my name is blah, blah. So what do you do for a living? It's like the very first question. What do you do for a living? And if you say, oh, I don't work at the moment, you are devalued right away. And I don't agree with that, because I think there are a lot of people that make huge contributions to society that don't have paid employment, for example, or who don't have the highest ranked job. Like if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, all those big jobs in a bank or whatever, you're still, even if you have a job, you're still looked upon as not doing the right thing or not contributing enough or whatever it is. So I would be asking that person, what makes you feel this way? Like, why are you coming to this conclusion that this is the case? And then after they explain that to me, no matter their answer, I would say, so you feel your day? Like when you get up to when you go to bed, what do you normally do on an average day? And I'm sure that 9 times out of 10, these people will be telling me things that contribute to the world in one way or another. So that's my answer to that, Sarah. I hope that helps. Chase says, yep, yay. Sarah says, in my day, I love it. I know, I'm feeling older and older every single day when I say this. Back in my day, we had Walkmans. And younger kids like, oh, you mean those Discman things? No, no, no. With cassettes. What's a cassette? Oh, well, back in my day, we had, Sarah says, projectors that you put a sheet on and it projects onto the whiteboard or blackboard and copy the work. Yeah, very true, Sarah. We had exactly the same. Yeah, and if not for that, the teacher will be writing on the blackboard in chalk, or they'd be writing on the whiteboard in a whiteboard marker. None of this, iPad stuff. This is just nuts as far as I'm concerned. And every mother that I'm talking to about the situation, regardless of, their experience, financially or culturally or whatever, they're all saying to me, my son, my daughter has to have an iPad for school. And that's what really has to have it. Like, really? What? Like, are we getting lazy and we can't write on the board anymore? Maybe I'm just someone who appreciates the simple things in life, but if I was running a class, I would hate if they all had an iPad. Like, that would just really upset me. I think the only reason for the class to have an iPad is if I get them to do guided meditation and be like, all right, everyone, we're going to YouTube. We're going to do some guided meditation. Everyone go to your table and have a sleep. Honestly, it would just frustrate me because it gets in the way of the creative process. But, that's just my thought. Chase says, my old school uses Blackboard still. That's awesome, Chase. I'm so glad they do, because certainly that's not the case here in Australia. So that's really good. Chase says, I put my phone on the desk and said, call it. Well done, Chase. I think that's a very smart move. And again, I'm sorry you were accused for that. Sarah says, if principal or headmaster, how would you deal with bullying? That is a very good question, Sarah. Look, I think for me, I would have a thing where, as principal or headmaster, I would say to or another, whether I put it in the guidebooks or say it at assemblies or whatever, if you're having an issue, if someone is bullying you, come straight to me. I don't like this whole idea of, you know, you tell your teacher who will then tell your coordinator who will then tell this person. No, that's just, I don't care. I may be the headmaster, but if you're experiencing bullying, come right to me. Come right to the top and tell me what's going on. And I would discuss it with them, find out exactly what is happening. And I tell you what, if the bullying is physical, and I kid you not, if the bullying is physical and can be proven to be physical, I would have a 100% no tolerance on that, and the bullies would be expelled. They wouldn't be suspended, they'd be expelled right away. Because I would not be able to tolerate bullying at my school. I experienced bullying growing up, physical, verbal, mental, the whole lot in school. And the worst part about it, I mean, it's bad, it comes with a lot of consequences anyway, but the worst part about it is you are not free to spend all of your energy learning at school, because most of your thought process is about the bullies. Are they going to get me when the bell goes? What's happening? Oh my God, after what happened this morning, I'm scared to go outside now. Blah, 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 blah. So I just couldn't handle that, because my students would not be free to, their brains would not be 100% free to take in everything that's going on in class if that's happening. So if it's proven and it is physical, they would be expelled right away. No second chance, you're out, we don't tolerate this, go to another school that does. If it is verbal, then I would find out what the situation is and try and deal with it. I feel like I would give a 1 chance to them if it's verbal, but if it happens again, done. If it can't be proven, I would find a way to keep a close eye on them. I don't know how I would do it. It's tough in this day and age. Like, I'd like to say I would pin a very tiny camera to the victim's top or something, but you can't really do that. So I would find a way to prove or disprove what I'm being told. Because you don't want, like, I mean, you never know. You could have someone who's playing the victim who, in fact, is not being bullied, and then you're kicking someone out for no reason. You just don't know. But yeah, if I could prove that it was happening, physical, expulsion right away. Verbal would be, you know what, they get 1 more chance. I would never say, as my vice principal said to my bullies, Francois came to us and said, I mean, seriously? No. I would say, look, we've heard reports that you guys have been doing X, Y, Z. This has got to stop now. If it doesn't, you will be expelled. Happens again, out. Because I just will not tolerate that. Chase says, the funny part of it all was a girl's number that sent the love text. Oh, there you go. Sarah says, it's funny because a few years after I finished high school, they started bringing out technology and kids got laptops. And now kids are expected to have iPads. We never had that. Yeah, I know, it's completely ridiculous, isn't it, Sarah? Like, I've said a few times now, the evolution of technology is really crazy. Oh, sorry. I just hit something on the keyboard and everything just went away, but it's back. We're all human. Technology is just advancing at such an accelerated rate that, honestly, I feel bad for anyone that goes through an electricity issue, like a strike or a malfunction or whatever. Oh, guys, excuse me. Because I don't know how half the world would cope without technology now. We're so dependent on it. But yeah, you're right. We never had that. We never had iPads or whatever, and now not only are iPads out, but they're expected at school. It's just really weird. Sarah says, oh yes, I was focused more on bullying at school. Girls are less physical and more nasty with mind games, and it can be just as damaging as physical bullying. Sarah, I completely agree with you. This is something that I've discussed with friends off and on for years. And you know what? Never thought I would say this line, but hey, I will. One of the advantages to being gay, there we go. One of the advantages to being a gay guy is that I've experienced both worlds. I've experienced what happens with bullying on the men's side, and I've experienced what happens with bullying on the women's side. And it is very different. And of course, this is stereotypically, women can act like men can act like women, whatever, but stereotypically, it is very, very different. The men will, to me, the men are more vulgar than the women, but that may just be me, because the men lead with the fist. They always do. If there's an issue, there'll be a, what we in Australia call a punch on, a bashing, whatever. You know, it's all about physically harming the person, never about talking about it. The women are very vindictive. They will talk behind someone's back. They will bitch at them, to them, psychologically torture them through words. I am yet to see, and maybe this is just because of the experiences I've had, but I'm yet to see women go straight to the fist. It's generally more about using your words to pierce at someone through your words rather than anything else. And both are just as bad. Please don't, don't think that I'm saying that, one's better than the other. No, both are really, really, really bad. I just think, I feel like, and this is going completely against my gender, but again, using that stereotype, women can probably be taught a lot more easily than men. I don't know. I feel like I can deal with, for me personally, and everyone's different, but for me personally, I'd much rather deal with verbal than physical, because I am now at an age where I can block out verbal. Where if someone is physically harming me day in and day out, that is something that is very hard to deal with, which I know from experience, and I know that a lot of you guys know from experience with your own sort of bullying and how hard it is to deal with. But in saying that, as I said, if it was verbal assault or whatever it is, as I said, I would bring the students in and say, you get one more chance. If this happens again, you will be expelled. And I think I would want to build up enough of a trust with my students so that they know that telling me what's happening is not going to make it worse for them. Because one of the biggest fears for victims, especially with all the threats that go around, is if you say something, it's going to make things worse for you. So I would want to put out that mentality of, no, it actually will make things better for you if you tell me. Because if it's physical, they're gone and you will never have to deal with them again. And if it's verbal and they do, and after we try and fix the situation, it happens again, they're gone as well. So it's much better to speak up. And I think, especially while I was in high school, there was this whole mentality of, well, if you say something, it's just going to be worse. Because like I said, the vice principal told the students, Francois said this. I mean, idiot. Seriously, the guy needs to be fired. But anyway, don't even know if he's there anymore. So, yeah, it can be. You're absolutely right, Sarah. It can be just as damaging as physical bullying. Chase said, I asked my teacher that blamed me for it, are you gender blind? I'm clearly a dude. Yeah, look, I think, there's a lot of like gender and sexism issues out there. And that is something that I will now open up for all of you. If you have any gender or sexism questions that related to questions you'd like to ask, feel free to do so, because I've been dealing with some myself recently and hearing about quite a few recently as well. And yeah, like, I don't know if I'm sorry, I forgot if the teacher was a male or a female, but especially if the teacher was a female and you being a male, the fact that they accuse you right away, I mean, that's blatant sexism, isn't it, at the end of the day? So, I mean, who knows what's going on there, but I'm just so sorry you had to deal with that, Chase. That's just unbelievable. Sarah says, seeing as 10 plus years later, I'm still having dreams about school bullies, verbal abuse messed with my head, but also I think when girls try to make someone an outcast. Yeah, so I'll deal with that part first, Sarah. So I can completely understand that. Look, honestly, I have still, not like last night or whatever, but I have even recently been having dreams about, going about the bullying and all that, and it's something that never leaves you. It's absolutely true. And it does mess with you and all that. And I think one of the things that really gets to me the most, and as I'm growing up and getting more and more mature, and believe me, this took a long time for me to actually comprehend, but I just want to say it quickly, is that in a way, I feel like these people don't understand how much it actually affects a person. And that's part of what I would want to do to teach bullies is say, okay, you might be having a bad day. Okay, you might want to, like, just to try and get in their head for a moment, and play devil's advocate. Okay, you might want to hurt them that day. But do you realize this is actually something that scars people for, like, potentially the rest of their lives? Like, seriously, think about what you're doing here. You're very potentially ruining someone's life when you open your mouth and do things like this. It's unbelievable. I don't know if they know that, but it is terrible. It really is, Sarah. I can't diminish that at all. I've been dealing with a lot of things, and I don't know if I told you guys this, but I last year something made me think about bullying that I went through back in high school, and I looked up the name of my biggest bully only on Facebook, just because I wanted to know what he was doing right now, and if karma had finally, gotten him. Yeah, karma had gotten to him in the biggest way. My bully is dead, my biggest bully. He was involved in a car accident. He was out at night walking alone. He crossed the road and a car ran over him. And apparently it took hours for someone to find him. He was all alone and he died. And it was really weird dealing with that. So, but I can honestly say you're right. It does affect people still to this day. Sarah says, I would never want physical abuse to be taken seriously and verbal and mental to be swept under the rug, which happened in my childhood. So, Francois, you take care of the physical bullies and I will handle the verbal and mental bullying. Yeah, look, Sarah, that's totally fine. I'm happy for that to be the case. But please, please know that I'm not trying to diminish verbal bullying in any way, because I have experienced it and I know that it is very, very harmful. So I'm so sorry if it's coming across as me saying that, it's not important or whatever. It really is. But yeah, definitely. If you want to do that, we'll both run the school. Yay! I don't know if you guys have seen the show Daria, but I keep watching Daria at the moment, and I don't know what it is, but of all the things that's getting stuck in my head, I keep seeing the principal saying Lawndale High. So I don't know if I will be like her, like not like her, but like her in the way of saying my school's name. Like, so welcome to blah, blah, high, and we have to improve blah, blah, high. But anyway, that's just something completely different. Chase is saying both male and females did it. Yeah, so, I mean, there you go. So lots of issues of blatant sexism. So I'm going to tell you guys a quick story about something that happened to me at work. So we, aside from having the kitchen, outside the kitchen, we have these herb gardens and we have these gardeners, and that's all great and wonderful. And one day we had this gardener come in and she said, oh, I need 4 strapping lads to come and help us, with lifting something and moving something or whatever. Anyway, so our educator, really, our boss picked out 3 guys, and then one of the ladies said, I'll do it as well. So first things first, when it comes to sexism, the boss said, wait a minute, they asked for guys. And the lady's like, well, no, that's fine. I've got muscles. I can help. It's all good. I got chosen, and I was thinking the opposite. I might be a guy, but I do not have physical strength. I have mental strength, but I don't have physical strength. So weird. Anyway, me and the lady are walking out there going, well, hang on. What the hell? Like, why weren't they letting you, or saying that you shouldn't go, but I should? And it's blatant sexism at the end of the day. And then since then, I've heard a lot of things related to sexism that it's 2018, people. Like, why are we not realizing that what we used to think men could only do, or what we used to think women could only do, both can now do both, or one can do the other and the other can do the other. Like, it's mind-boggling to me that this still exists. So if you have any stories about that or thoughts about sexism at all, how it's being treated in the workplace, but also outside of work, then certainly feel free to let me know. I will just quickly say about outside of work. I went to watch a friend play a sport over the weekend. I won't say too much about it to protect anonymity. But anyway, this person is a female, and she was saying to me that during the day, there are three genders or three types that play this sport throughout the day. There's the kids, the women, and the men. And she said it's always been the way ever since I've known it that the women play at this particular time. And what's terrible about that in summer is that it's really hot at this particular time, and it makes it, really hard for us. And so my response was, well, hang on, why do the women have to play at that time? And she said, that's the way it's always been. The women play at this time, the men play at this time. Utterly ridiculous. I'm one of the biggest male feminists that I know, so maybe that's why I harp on about it a little bit. But if you have an opinion, certainly feel free to let me know and we will talk about it. Sarah says, no, definitely don't think you wouldn't take the other side seriously. It's just my reality growing up. People knew about certain types of bullying or abuse, sexual, physical, and no one really knew how, so it never got acknowledged. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying there, Sarah. And honestly, I will be honored to rule the school with you by my side anyway. So the fact that you grew up and you do understand that side a lot more, and I understand the physical side a lot more, us working together in tandem, I tell you what, we probably become a private school really quickly. A private school that, allows people to come in that have financial issues, but we become looked upon with very high regard, I think. Yeah. And no one really knew about emotional abuse or how much it damaged me. Sorry, I left that part out. Yeah, no need to apologize at all there, Sarah. And that's the thing, as I was saying, I don't think the bullies, not that I'm standing up for them, I am not. Bullying needs to be squashed. And if anything, the most direct way to deal with bullying, as I said, is to expel someone. But I also feel that the best way to deal with bullying is to bully the bullies, and it's not going to help much. But I feel like, I don't know, with more like a gut reaction, an emotional reaction rather than a logical one, I sort of want to say, you know what? You tortured this person. Your punishment is to now be tortured yourself. And so you can understand what you've just done. But it's really, yeah, it's terrible. Sarah's left another message saying, haha, can you imagine Headmaster FNS? Yes, I can. I'm sure a lot of people here can imagine FNS as headmasters. It'll be really, really good. Yay. Yeah. So there you go. And I'd want to have a paper as well in the school, because I know that some schools will have school papers and people work on the paper and all that, like students do. I never had that at school, but I would love to have that. And I would say, total freedom of the press to those who work on the school paper. You can write about, as long as it's honest, whatever you want, expose everything. And I just think it'll be really interesting to read that stuff and go, oh, they're exposing bullies, issues with, the canteen or whatever, have you. Principal Francois does wrong. Yeah, I want to read that, so I can learn to improve myself. But there you go. So yeah, anyone got any thoughts on sexism? Certainly let me know. And what else? I don't know. I'll leave that to you guys to let me know. Currently in Australia, it is 3:42 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 4th of March, 2018. Can you believe we are in March, people? I cannot. I don't know where February went. Yes, I know that February is shorter than a lot of other months, so it's okay, we missed days anyway. But I just can't believe we're in March. It's really screwing with my head. All right. Sarah says, I think that was not as much an Australian thing, but I'd love to have a school paper and get kids thinking about important topics. Yeah, exactly. Same here. So, yay, we can do that at our school, Sarah. Woo! Yeah, so, all right, you guys, if anyone else has any problems that they're dealing with at work or that they've dealt with during the past week and you want to talk about, let me know. I'm also considering bringing back as a special one-time only spiritual moments. If you guys want that to happen, let me know. If you don't, that is absolutely fine. Feel free to let me know that as well. If there are any shows that you would like to talk about, feel free to do so, but please ask if I'm up to date on the show, because I may not be. I'm trying hard to do so. And if there's anything else that you would like to talk about, then once again, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, we will wrap this up soon-ish. It really will just come down to if there's anything else to talk about, if there's any stone that we have left unturned. Sarah says, I also saw the idea of schools having an ethics class, which would be great. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I'm totally on board with that. When I did my counseling course, one of the units was social, moral, and ethical issues. And it was one of the best classes that I had, if not probably the best class that I had, because I wanted to study morals and ethics. It was something I'd never done before. And yeah, it was really good. I will say the teacher was hard, so that helped, but that wasn't my main motivation. I really wanted to study morals and ethics, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. The first day, I'll never forget him saying to us, as counselors, if you work independently, you will have to charge your clients a fee. What do you think you're going to charge them? And this was still in our first year of the course. So it was probably about 6 months in or something. And we're all sort of looking at each other as newbies going, oh, well, we don't know. What the heck will we charge our clients? You know, we wouldn't want to charge too much and yeah. And he said, well, that's the thing. Morally, you're going to be saying, you know, I don't want to charge a client too much, but ethically, think about it. You need to charge your clients the amount that you think you are worth. If you were to charge a client $5, the client will think that you are worth $5. And it was really interesting making those contrasting comparisons. Sarah says, they say it's up to parents to teach kids morals and ethics, but kids are at school the majority of the week, so schools should be teaching things too and getting kids to learn how to think for themselves and think about right and wrong and what it means to them. Yes, I agree. Look, I've heard the whole debate, no matter what the topic is, between parents saying they should learn it at school and schools saying they should learn things at home. My answer to that is they should be learning them at both. It should be in tandem, and you're absolutely right. They should also be learning it on their own. I'm just saying, did you say that? Did you write that? Think for themselves. Yeah. So I think that parents should teach the kids whatever it is, and the school as well should teach them, and then the kids should think for themselves what it is that they will do. I don't think we should be passing the buck all the time, especially, and not to like bring this up, but I feel like this is one of the biggest ones, especially when it comes to sexual education. The buck keeps getting passed between, oh, the parent should teach her, no, the school should teach her, and meanwhile, the child's not taught what's going on. So, I mean, not to be all Helen Lovejoy about it, but won't somebody please think of the children? You know, don't just keep passing the buck. Do what you got to do. Yes, the schools, in my mind, should have an obligation to teach the students sexual education. Yes, they should. But the parents also have an obligation to teach their children sexual education. But I grew up in Australia with a European mother who was very open with me. You know, you got any questions, come to me, ask me, sort of thing. And I know of people whose parents just didn't talk about it. They didn't want to. And, you know, some students' parents were religious and didn't want their kids knowing anything about sexual education at all because, you know, they weren't ready for their kids to know. Everyone's different. But I do feel like this is something that needs to be taught because, you know, teenagers are finding themselves in worse and worse situations these days. And I feel like if they knew what the deal was, it would be a different story. Chase says, I hope I fixed my iPad's memory problem. Oh, I hope you did too, Chase. And I'll be completely honest with you guys, on iPads, I don't have an iPad. You know, does that mean that I have anything like that, like a tablet or whatever? No, I don't have anything like that at all. And you know what? I'm surviving, guys. I don't need one. I'm not rushing out to get one. And I just have no motivation. What am I going to do with it that I can't do with my PC? So I just have no need to get one, really. But that's just on me. I'm not judging anyone who does. That's just me. Sarah says, conjoined effort between school and home. Exactly right, Sarah. That's exactly what I'm saying. Sarah says, don't get me started on the schooling system and how it fails, lol. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could be here talking for hours and hours and hours. there are so many things that I want to talk to you guys about that I really need to start making note of them, such as Centrelink and welfare around the world, schools, etc., etc., etc. You know, sexism, blah blah blah. But I think I'll try and make that a separate video to this general chat. So Chase is saying that he has an iPad too. That's really old. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, Chase. Like, to me, I don't need any sort of iPad at all. And even if I did, I might go for an iPad too and not really care. But I mean, you know, that's just me because, you know, back in my day, we didn't have these things called iPads. No, it's funny, guys. I heard something recently, which is that the latest generation is known as the I generation. And it makes a lot of sense. I get why they're saying it, but yeah, I just found it interesting. I thought the latest generation were millennials, but apparently the millennial generation has finished. Correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently they've come to the end of the millennial generation and now we're at the I generation. Interesting. Yeah, so Sarah's saying, yeah, we shall do a Centrelink and welfare chat. Yeah, we definitely will. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it'll be an FNS chat, I'm assuming. So it'll be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. Sarah says, because the way Australia is with welfare is the same case in other countries too. Yeah, so it's not just here. It's not just with Centrelink. It's just that with Centrelink, I and Sarah, when she's with me, when we make an FNS chat, we can both point out things. So yeah, but definitely, it's going to be interesting to have a discussion about it because I know a lot of people that are having issues with welfare in Australia. If people are around the world, I invite you to come to the chat and let me know of your experience. But yeah, it on a negative note, it never ceases to amaze me what Centrelink will do. It just never ceases to amaze me. Just when I think I know exactly what they're about, what they do, I feel like I've got them covered, they'll do something else that will completely blow me away. And it's just ridiculous. So we have to have an expose chat about that for sure. Chase says, lol, back in my day, we had pen and paper and loved it. Exactly right, Chase. I know you're probably mocking me right now, but that's exactly right. Back in my day, we had pen and paper and we were very happy with that. Look, a lot of you guys know that I love writing stories. It's one of my favorite like passions and pastimes. But back in the day, I was more than content to, even though my hand hated it because it got really sore, but I was more than content to write like longhand, pen and paper, pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. Exactly right, Chase. I second that one. Sarah says, you and I are millennials. People that are teens these days are not millennials. Thank you, Sarah, for that confirmation. Yeah, so they're Gen Is, which is really interesting. So we're millennials. See, it's really interesting because I thought I was a Gen Y. Interesting. But that's totally fine. Sarah says, and I can bring it from someone suffering from chronic illness on welfare. Yes, exactly right, Sarah, which I think is going to be quite bring it from the perspective of someone who's been on New Start. I know some people who can bring it from the perspective of being a single mother. You know, there's all different types of people that that myself, I'm sure Sarah and other people have had dealings with that deal with Centrelink. There is a lot to be said, you guys. So there we go. So it says, back in my day, we wrote letters and mailed them to people. Exactly. We used the mailbox, people. None of this instant email or instant, you know, SMS or whatever. No. Or you know, Facebook Messenger. My word, no, none of that. No, you would write a letter, put it in an envelope, put the address on it, apply a stamp, put it in the mailbox, and they might have to wait a week sometimes to get that letter, if not longer if they lived in another country. Back in my day. I feel like we're going to have a back in my day segment at some point. All right, guys. So we're heading on to 4 o'clock. It's about 3:53, so I'm happy to remain here till 4. If anyone else has any last minute questions or anything that they would like to add, feel free to do so. It might be about back in my day. It might be about Centrelink. It might be about welfare. It might be about sexism. It might be about bullying. It might be about anything that we have covered at all in this chat today. Then certainly feel free to let me know. And if there are people out there who are listening and who are not writing anything, that's totally fine. I just wanted to say hello to you guys. So generally when people write in the chat box, I get to say hello to them because they're writing a message and I see their name pop up. But if you're listening and not writing anything, that's totally fine. I completely understand. Hello to you. And I hope you're enjoying this Got Questions, Bring 'em live chat today on this Australian Sunday, 3:54 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Okay. God, it reminds me of back in the day, funny back in my day, but back in the day, if you guys didn't know, I used to do a news report thing on comment below and let me know. And I'll be like, it is 3:54 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Today in the news. And yeah, I wonder if I still have that. I'm going to have to look that up. Anyway, where are we? A week. Yes, a whole week. Yes, Sarah, exactly. It took a whole week to get those letters sent out. Ridiculous. Chase says, teens these days got to buy a phone, got to buy a tablet, because car crashes. I don't know what you're saying in the second one there, Chase. But yeah, no, it's right. They do. But that's the problem, is that they have to buy them. You know, for me, if I had children, I'd almost want to homeschool them. I wouldn't, because I've grown up being an introvert way too much myself. So I would want to push my kids into going to a public school so they could learn to socialize and all that. But I'd almost want to homeschool them and say, we're not doing it with iPads or, you know, anything like that. You know, yeah, and you will get a phone when I think that you should get a phone. You know, no point introducing a child to technology too early, in my opinion. Where these days, the attitude of some children, and, you know, I even heard a good one the other day when I met someone's child, and they were saying to me, I said to them, they seem really nice and polite, because this child, I kid you not, when they're introduced to me, walked up to me, held out their hand to shake my hand and said something like, pleased to meet you, or whatever, like that. Really, really polite. I'm like, oh, they're so polite. And the person said to me, yeah, just give it time. And we gave it time and we saw the difference. And children these days, wow. Really, like, I wonder how there's any communication, because when I see children these days, most of the time, they're asking for iPads to play on their iPads or whatever. I don't know. It's just really weird to me. So yeah, I would try not to do that. Sarah says, the whole millennial thing is that they say millennials are spoiled and horrible and expect everything. And the reality is the oldest millennials are in their 30s. Ah, right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I agree with what you're trying to say there, Sarah. It's kind of, I don't know. It's weird, because we are, those of us who are over 30, we're judged like that as well. And it's, you know, we were brought up in a different era to those who are at the lowest end of the millennial spectrum. So there you go. Chase says they stay on the phones when driving, so they cause car crashes. No, that's true. Yeah, you know, I mean, they're glued to their phones 24/7. The moment a child gets a phone, and if your child is different, please tell me how. The moment a child gets a phone, you can't pry them away from it, no matter what they're doing. And it's true that people who are old enough to drive, yeah, they're on their phones, they cause crashes, all that. Absolutely ridiculous. Sarah says, all late 20s and are simply dealing with the shitty economy, limited jobs in this crazy world. Yeah, no, that's true. You know, it's an interesting world, isn't it? Well, we are at the 2-minute wrap-up. So before we go anywhere else, I'd just like to thank everyone who has joined me here live. And if you're listening to this broadcast delayed, that is totally fine as well. Thanks so much for being here. If there's anything that you would like to contribute to the conversation, and you weren't able to make it here live, or you've decided to re-listen to this chat and we've now ended the chat and you forgot to put something in, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. I love coming back to the comments and reading them and seeing what people have to say. What's your opinion? You may completely disagree. You may think that, you know, people who bullied should not get expelled. They should stay in school and continue to do so. That's your opinion. And that is what the whole reason for comment below and let me know. Exactly as it says. The whole purpose of this channel is for people to comment below and let me know their own opinion, no matter what it is. As long as, for me, I'm so happy if people have a different opinion to mine. Please feel free to sound off about that if you do. As long as there's no bullying or whatever here, please have your own opinion. Let me know what you think. You know? You may think that sexism still existing these days is a really good idea and something that should continue. If you do, let me know. But yeah, thank you to Chase and to Sarah and to Alofa and to everyone else who's been listening today. I know I've had a few people that have dipped in and out, and I appreciate it. So also what I want to know from you guys is if there's a really good time for me to do chats, let me know. I do understand that my best times to do chats are when Americans are asleep, but guys, in case you don't know, Chase is from America and he's here with us right now. So that's making me think that doing a chat around this time is okay. But yeah, if there are others of you who would like to be available to come to chats, let me know in Australian Eastern Standard Time when would be a good time to chat. And that's really easy to work out. If you have the internet, which you do because you have YouTube, go to Google and type in time zones, Melbourne, Australia, and work out what time it is here in Australian Eastern Standard Time and let me know. Sarah says, I was still excited to get dolls when I was 12 and 13, lol, as long as people keep being respectful. Yeah, so for both, exactly. Yeah, you know, I can't help but harken back to the Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the, is it the Philosopher's Stone? It's one of them. So Philosopher, or, no, it is Philosopher. Harry Potter and Philosopher's Stone with Dudley right at the start, you know, where's it? 36, but last year I had 37. Oh, every time I see that, I just want to like punch him out and be like, dude, you got 36 presents. Did you not realize? I could go on a whole rant there. But non-Harry Potter people, out of respect to you, I won't. As long as people keep it respectful as well, yeah, exactly right. Say what your opinion is. I'm more than happy to hear what your opinion is. You can completely disagree with me, but please be respectful about it. We don't tolerate disrespect here. So you know, anything like, look, Francois, you say this, but my opinion is this is totally fine. But you saying Francois is a dumbass for saying that, no, I mean, come on. You know where the line is. Come on, guys. We know what we mean. And Chase is saying, yep, which is a really good note, I think, to end things on. So it is 4:01 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to give love and light and hugs and kisses to everyone here at comment below and let me know. Thank you so much also to Sarah for helping with me with the F and S chat as well a couple of days ago. That was great. If you have not seen my latest video, which is on getting to sleep quicker, have a look at that because it's quite interesting. Sarah says, haha, we advise against calling Francois a dumbass. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, we do. And just, yeah, light and love and hugs and kisses to all of you. It's been, you know, I want to end. I want to end by saying this. New Year's Day, I had an idea of what I wanted to happen this year, and it never, whatever I want never occurred. Whenever I thought of, oh, you know, I want this year to be like this. You know how you think about it every New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, what you want the year to bring? This year, it's happened for me. This year, I wanted to be happy or content. I limited it down to either of those things because anytime I think of something specific, it didn't work out for me. And I am right now. I am surrounded by so much love, joy, and happiness. And I'm so grateful. I'm not saying this to sound like a snob. I'm saying this to show my appreciation. I want to give hugs and kisses to everyone who is in my life right now. Because believe me, the negative energy, I've cut it off. I've blocked and cut off the negative energy. But to those of you who are in my life right now, I want to give you hugs and kisses and so much thanks. Because at one stage, my world was a very dark, black pitted hole. And now I just feel the love, the warmth, and the energy. You guys are so amazing. So thank you so much, you guys, because I don't know where I would be without you. I wouldn't be as content and happy as I am right now. So thank you very much. We may do one more video tomorrow. If there's something you would like to see tomorrow, let me know. But otherwise, have a really good week this week, guys. Kick ass in whatever it is that you do. And I'll see you all very soon. Until then, I am Francois T. Make love and not war. Give someone you love a hug today. Keep your eggs sunny side up. And do not forget to can keep a secret if one of them forgets to talk about AD. Welcome to Comment Below with Francois T.